Alrighty, howdy ho folks. It's your multiversal medium here for another episode of Dread Delusion. Weirdly enough, this is where I loaded. If you remember last episode, I went back to the blinding light and saved. And I loaded back here. I, do not know what that equates to game design or lore wise, but it is definitely concerning in a few ways. Yeah, I'm curious how that works out. Then again, we keep being told we should just keep moving on and not really come back here for whatever reason, even when it's low-key possibly vital for me living. So, maybe the whole fact you can go to the blinding light as a backtrack thing is more of a aspect they added later. Oh, actually, oh, no, wait, it's down here. It's right here. Yeah, I was about to say, where's the freaking mirror? There we go. There we go. Yeah. But last episode, we were just kind of exploring the Underlands as one usually doesn't. Kind of no man's land and all that. But I believe we had finally picked up basically every collectible here. I looked into it. We're missing one thing that isn't technically even like a collectible or anything. It's more so just something I pointed out towards the end of last episode. And we're going to need to do some finagling to mess with it. It's that teleport mirror we saw near the elevator next to Caxton. That is the only thing we're missing, basically. Beyond that, I believe we're basically good as a whole in the Underlands. Just gonna get the plot moving forward and probably not have many more episodes left, sadly. Yeah, the series is coming to an end. I believe we'll have... Oh, gosh. I honestly don't know. I know we're supposed to be getting a ship by the end of this mission, and then we'd probably have an entire episode of side quest nonsense. But beyond that, I think we're basically good. Yeah, this is something we're going to have to try and figure out. So I don't know exactly what the heck the person online was saying. I think we need to ride this all the way up and try to jump to a place we shouldn't in order to activate it. And I'm going to assume it's there as a safeguard of sorts, actually. That'd be my only guess. Like, even the person writing the guide on how to activate that's like, yeah, I don't know why this is here, and I don't know why they even bothered. But they mentioned jumping off an elevator, so I guess that's what the heck we're going to be doing. They also mentioned probably getting Jody's addendum. Okay, let's get this going. So, make our way on up. We've already talked to all the NPCs. Oh, that's it right there. Yeah, that was it. Okay. Yeah, I just saw it right there. Okay. So I guess we're gonna be making our way down. Making our way downtown. Trying to jump. Failing at jumping. Not having a good time. Okay, how the heck are we gonna do this? Can I actually get on the outside of this? Nope, it instantly locks you in. This ain't pleasant. Oh gosh, yeah. Hold up. Let's see here, equipment-wise. Can we... Gonna raise our agility, which should do that. We possibly get some sort of item that also raises agility. Let's see here. Copy, blah, blah, blah. Gigantor. Why does that song constantly get stuck in my head? That is an old, like, 1960s era anime. Just Gigantor. I saw it like 3 times on Adult Swim, way too late at night. And for some reason, it's been stuck in my head ever since. Just the opening theme of it. And I have zero clue why. The only thing I know about Gigantor is it makes me want to play that PS2 game, Robotic Alchemical Drive. Okay. Jumpy. Jumpy. No. Jump. Oh, gosh. This is going to be insufferable. Okay, I'll tell you what, guys. I'm going to low-key hate myself, but pause the video here and keep going until we do something. All right, be right back. I'll probably be here when I finally showcase doing it, just in general. Okay, there we go. There we go. Oh gosh. That was okay. So I guess we're back. Gotta love Agility's addendum. Leads to a lot of fun, interesting moments. Okay. Here we go. Yep. That's all that's over here. Just a bit of Embyrian Ore. Which, I'm gonna say this patch is a lot more useful than it used to be. For a hot second, I want to say, like, even shortly after I got Dread Delusion, you used to be able to make Embyrian Ore via the alchemy system. You used to be able to, I think, make every type of ore, actually, if you wanted to upgrade your gear. But I'm pretty certain this patch and just all future patches that is taken out now. Did you used to be able to make Embyrian Ore? Or was it just like upgrading like your treasures and stuff? Made a tomato. It's a part of the game I probably wouldn't have touched either way. I don't know why the devs took the time to take it out, but I'm not an individual that's like, oh, how dare they do that? It's okay, I guess they chose to do that. Alright, what you got to say, Duchess? See the tallest tower over yonder, Confessor? I've scrawled an auto coach at its peak. That should take us to the Cradle. Be careful making your way across. These platforms look awfully unsteady. It's a long way down, huh? I mean, I guess I've technically survived longer falls. So the auto coach is right there. Are we going to like that floating bit? Or are we going to that giant sphere thing right there? Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm so curious. I am. Alrighty. Let's make our way. Oh, what's up, man? No, you don't see me. Gosh dang it, he saw me. How could he? I was directly in front of him. Gosh, I will never get over how cool these dudes look in basically football armor. It's the only time I've ever thought, like, wow, football armor looks good on you, man. Gosh dang. Oh, gosh. Anyways, as I think I was mentioning at the start of this episode, or maybe not, because this is the first time I'm recording in a hot second. I've edited all the episodes of everything I have by now, so kind of like, okay, I need to get more recordings going. But as I possibly was saying, we're basically reaching the end of the series, which is super upsetting. I did mention a couple episodes ago, feel free and leave your input on what you might want to go in this slot. Oh goodness me, oh my. All right, let's get this going, man. There we go. But basically, as one of you knows, somebody left 3 possibilities. May as well talk about that right now as possible things to go in the slot. First one I'm going to talk about is Fear and Hunger, which is mainly because I don't think I could technically do a full series of that on my channel. It's not that I'm against it, it's that the themes that are touched on in Fear and Hunger, as well as probably Fear and Hunger 2, are things that YouTube usually tries to demonetize for. So although I could do a series, I would most likely have to do so much editing that certain scenes and aspects of the game would not be as shocking and as impactful as they're meant to be. So basically, I'd be giving a dumbed down version of a game that's meant to leave a message and leave a Embyrian Ore. Just leave a mark on you after you've played it. And I don't think that's exactly fair as a showcase to a game. I might down the road at some point, as opposed to doing a full series, do a super long episode discussing Fear and Hunger and considering it more of an essay kind of thing, while talking about a playthrough I recorded specifically for that video and my thoughts on it as a whole. That way I'd be able to edit around the racier bits, because I'm not against those kind of subject matters. Heck, I'm not against a majority of subject matters, to be perfectly honest, depending on how it's handled. If it's handled poorly, I'm going to make fun of it, but Fear and Hunger isn't handling those kind of things poorly. It's handling those things in a manner that is usually upsetting to a player base that's not expecting it. And what's more, I'm not against that. It's YouTube that is. So I'm certain there are YouTubers that have done it, but it would take a lot of editing on my end for me to feel safe doing it, basically. And that's just not fair to the game as a whole and the experience someone watching may feel. So yeah, maybe a giant essay video later. I plan to do giant essay videos on a few series that are not exactly YouTube friendly, but are adult in certain ways. Let's talk to these two real quick and then I'll get back on that tangent. Ross is craning his neck to examine the ornamental ceiling. The markings are intriguing, elaborate, yet entirely abstract. No apparent representation of figures or scenes. Perhaps the Embyrians held mathematics and geometry in higher respect than myth. No doubt this pattern had some ritual significance. Embyrians give a really, really Dwemer vibe with how they're handling things. Especially when we consider the Cradle being an entity that's birthing something beyond the level of a god. That's very Numividium. Is that what it's called? Numividium? The false god that the Dwemer made in Elder Scrolls that caused them to go out of existence. I need to do a video about that. Just a lore video about my hypothesis, how that went. Anyways, they give a very Dwemer vibe and how their culture was. There are literal gods in the setting, but they didn't care about the gods. The Wiccans were legit forced to go to the not the Honor Isles, the Skylands and all that stuff, just to not face persecution from the Embyrian Empire, just hiding away. And then they basically made their own god that destroyed them. And now all we have is a bunch of ruins of an empire that was obscenely advanced by everyone else's standards, but nobody's around to tell us how it worked. Yeah, good stuff. All right, what do you gotta say, Embyrian? Looks like something big's up ahead. Let's not get careless. Let's get going. I could ask her to join me, but I still have anxiety after seeing her get knocked down last time. I know she'll get back up again. It's just, oh gosh, that was a heart drop moment. Okay, back onto the earlier subject before we climb on up. Basically, I have a few games that are adult in different ways that I wouldn't mind doing just an essay video. And no, they're not like those kind of games, but they're riding a fine line as those kind of games. Japan is very perverted in a lot of their video games, and I have a handful where it's like, are you effing serious with this nonsense? So maybe just a super long video where I talk about how could they be effing serious about this nonsense would work out. My fiance has a mystery dungeon RPG where you're like growing a garden in this high school or whatever, like this all-girls high school. But the way you grow the flowers in the garden is by a touch minigame on the girls that causes them to produce water for the garden. And then the mystery dungeon aspect has the girls grow a certain part of themselves as they get stronger in the mystery dungeon. Because Japan is very perverted in a good number of its media, and it's creepy when you consider these are high school girls. Yeah. But I have other things like the 2 Conception games, which that name alone should make you kind of step back a bit, where the protag in those games is considered God's gift to woman, and you need to visual novel date girls. And after you do visual novel dates, you enter a room and it gets all silhouette-y, and you quote unquote classmate with the girls and produce star children who are your like party members for dungeon diving, and all the enemies are phallic shaped. Like, yeah, that's not a series I'm gonna do, but it is worth an essay video kind of thing where I don't show some more illicit nonsense, but just be like, this was a game. Gosh, was this a game? They made a sequel too. There's 2 of these games. But I also have like I want to say a couple dungeon RPGs where all the enemies are phallic or woman anatomy shaped kind of thing. And it's very perverted through and through. And I feel like it's just worth a fun video of being like, oh my gosh, I can't believe they made this kind of thing. Fear and Hunger wouldn't be the, oh my gosh, I can't believe they made it. It would be along the lines of, here's an essay going deeply into it, while also just trying to edit around the bits and bobs that I can't have on my channel, sadly. Well. The other two games, Lunacid, I'm not against doing. They even have a free prequel to Lunacid up on Steam now. That would be fun to do before doing Lunacid, but I've just never done a Kingsfield style game. And the third recommended game was actually Morrowind, which, yeah, Dread Delusion's based on Morrowind, so that makes sense. It was a passion project for someone who really liked Morrowind, and Morrowind is my favorite game. I'm not gonna lie, out of those three suggestions, I'm leaning towards Morrowind. Partially because Elder Scrolls is my favorite series and it's my favorite game. Partially because I've never technically beaten it. But ultimately... Oh, this is nice. This is nice. I was talking to my fiance because the Oblivion remaster came out. And I was talking about the differences between Oblivion and Morrowind in small odds and ends, because she's like, I really like the speechcraft thing going on here. And I was like, yeah, Morrowind's was actually really good. You could goad NPCs into attacking you to get rid of the NPC, because it wouldn't be considered assault or like you killing them because they attacked you first, amongst other things. He's like, oh, I should really look up a playthrough. And it's like, oh no. Oh no. I can't have her look up another person's playthrough. So, yeah, I'm kind of leaning more towards that. I just feel weird doing a Morrowind series in 2025. Then again, maybe it's right around the perfect time for it, with everyone super hyped about the Oblivion remaster that's currently out. But it does feel a bit odd considering like I'm already doing a small mini-series on Oblivion. Whatever. We'll take things bit by bit and day by day and go from there. Where is Jack Basalt? I didn't see him. Yeah, I never saw Jack Basalt after we instanced up here. That's... I'm gonna go do a double take real quick, actually. That dude... I don't like him. But I think that's ultimately irrelevant. I don't think he likes me either. So, we're kind of just at a weird mutual understanding right there. Oddly enough, I feel like he's usually the one missing when I'm looking for them. He's kind of doing his own thing. You'd think a dude with like a navy blue Dark Star uniform would honestly stand out, but he doesn't. He really doesn't. So, where the heck is this guy? Maybe the Duchess was around here. Not seeing him anywhere. Duchess was near the start. Jack Basalt is nowhere to be seen. That's odd. Yeah, Duchess is right there. Anyways, so out of those three suggestions, that's what I'm leaning more towards. Morrowind. Mainly because it's a safe place for me. It's... The opening theme feels like home to me, and I'm biased. That being said, if you guys in the comments are like, no, I think I'd prefer this a bit more, or, oh, I'd prefer this one game or whatever, feel free to let me know, and I can be swayed. It's not like my word is law. Yeah, I don't know where Jack Basalt is. That's on point for him. That's so on point for him. Oh well. It is what it is. Just waiting to see him in a random corner I didn't look at from the right angle or something. Oh well. That all being said, if you all are fine with Morrowind as a prospect, should I do mods to update the graphics, or should I just kind of go in unmodded and call it good? Because if you're good with like how the series looks, you're probably fine with how Morrowind looks, not gonna lie. And the only mods I'd be doing for Morrowind would really be probably just graphical ones if you guys felt it was necessary. Personally, I don't think they are, but also personally, I don't know how well a Morrowind Let's Play in 2025 is going to go. What else? It's about the fun of it. It's about the fun of it all and all that. Anyways, I guess let's just get this going. Onward. My big four-pronged key. Ooh, fancy. It reminds me of like just random set pieces from the early Fallout games. Like this looks like a weird nuclear reactor thing. I kind of love it. What are we looking at here? Arguably in a universe, that's probably not too much of a stretch. A weird nuclear reactor thing. Find it odd that, okay, I guess we're just dropping down. Alright. In for a penny, in for a pound. Let's go. Yep. The lift is already here. Oh, Basalt, you finally decided to grace us with your presence. Alrighty. Well, here we are at last. The Cradle. Looks like no alehouse I've ever seen, he chuckles. This platform should take us inside. When we get to Vela, you can do the talking, Confessor. I reckon that's the best chance we've got. If she sees the rest of us, she'll only want to talk with her swords. But with us being mutineers and all. I'm guessing your superiors want her brought in quietly. But if things go south, and I'm betting they will, we'll have your back. There may only be a handful of us, but we've faced tough odds before. I'll talk Vela into coming quietly. I'll distract her while you get ready to strike. I'll hear her out. Maybe this plan of hers isn't so bad. I still don't know how to feel about like which choice we should probably go with. I don't think she should be handed over to the Apostatic Union. We've seen what the Apostatic Union does to its criminals, myself included. They basically just force them into their military as a whole in some way, shape, or form. Like the... Gosh. Is she a high confessor? The Wiccan, who is now in a freaking sarcophagus. I believe her title is High Confessor. Like that kind of thing. That's what would be waiting for Vela if we caught her. That kind of stuff. And let's be effing honest. The Apostatic Union effing sucks. It really, really does. It is not a good organization in any way, shape, or form. And even though I grew up in it, I am a criminal in it. I'll never technically live that down. I'll hear her out. I don't know where the plan's going, but worst case scenario, we put her to death here. That's honestly better for her in the longer, grander scheme of things. There's worse things than death, man. He frowns. I hope for your sake you're joking, Confessor. We ain't trifling with petty crimes here. Vela could tear this world asunder. And if you want to help her do it, then you'll be facing my blade before you do. That's fair. Honestly, I'm just more so curious about the logic behind everything. You don't get this far into a scheme without having the logic behind it. Oh my, this cradle really is enormous, isn't it? I'm sure even the stonemasons who built our endless mausoleums would break a sweat at the sight of this. Yeah. Yeah, actually, this is massive. Okay. What are we looking at? What are we looking at? Frost is staring at the cradle in silent awe. His former exuberance stopped dead in its tracks. Please forgive my ineloquence. I find myself quite overcome. Me too. We stand there in silence together for a minute or two, gazing at the cradle. Frost is staring at the cradle in silent awe. His former exuberance stopped dead in its tracks. What's the matter? He pauses for a while as he mulls his words. In matters of religion, confessor, I am my father's son. And my mother's, for that matter. Apostates to the end. They fled their homeland, rather than truckle to any god. But this place, this power, the industry, the knowledge that its existence represents, I can find no other word for it but holy. Is this what the devout feel towards their gods? Possibly. For those that worship logic, the machines are their place of worship, and all that. Being here makes my stomach churn, but make no mistake, my sword will swing true. Were up to me, I'd rush Vela head on. Give her no time to think before I cleave her in two. But Basalt thinks we should hold back. Assess the situation while you two have a little chat. And loath as I am to admit it, the bastard's usually right. Okay. Like this 100% feels like end game, nothing left. And it's like, I'm pretty certain we were supposed to get a ship. And now I'm super apprehensive that we're at the point of no return. Oy vey. Well, this looks like you'd actually have a auto coach or something right there. This does not open. Okay. What are we looking at? This. Oh. Oh, I didn't know we were in Final Fantasy suddenly. Huh. Oh, a bunch of dark stars too. Oh, they're even cheering. Wow. Huh. I mean, it's impressive. But if we're talking about the size of divinities and possibly that being a showcase of their power. B? Yeah, I'd say around a B tier god. If it's in apotheosis though, a B tier is honestly fairly good. It probably has the ability to grow up to S tier. Maybe even beyond that. Because honestly, that was probably the whole point of the Cradle, to make a god well beyond the other gods. One that's perfectly controlled by their cipher magic and anything. Huh. Anyways, I'll be right back, guys. I'm actually gonna look up, am I at the point of no return? Like, I am so apprehensive, like... I thought we were getting a ship! Oh, we'll be right back. I am not the only one that's at this point and like, just, hey, so that airship thing, right? And it's like, no, keep going, man. You're good. You're good. Okay, I guess we're good. I guess we're good. What can I say? this thing looks like the final boss to something, so makes me a bit apprehensive, that's all. That's all. How many points do you think I'd get if I frickin' like shot through it? It's hoop right there. It's a blue hoop, so I'm gonna say 5 points. If it was a gold one, I'd say probably 15. Does that sound about right? That weirdly sounds correct. No, it's blue would be 10, green would be 5. Yep, okay. What are we doing? Oh, right. A, man-made divinity. Ooh, can't even walk over here. That's invisible wall territory. I hate invisible wall nonsense. It's one of my biggest gripes with the Oblivion remaster. A bunch of invisible walls that stop me from getting out of bounds. Okay. May as well pop those. Let's see here. My charm is at 60. And if we pop that, it's still at 60 actually. Pop that on, it's at 85. It is lowered a bit, considering like we're dealing with, actually I'm curious. Hold up. Can I see that thing without the worm? Parfum. Okay, yeah, I can. I would have loved if legit that dude was actually invisible unless you had a potion of true eye or something going on. That would have been effing amazing. That would have been awesome, actually. Okay. What are we looking at? Vela stands with poise, her commands booming through the chamber as Darkstar mercenaries scurry at her beck and call. Vela Callose. There's no reason to frickin' approach silently. She knows I'm here. Vela! Vela's head snaps around, her eyes fixed upon you. She turns with one hand on her sword hilt. Vela Callose, I've come to. By order of the Inquisition, I freeze and say nothing. Intruder? Here? We're leagues under the sky realms. In a place as dangerous as it is inhospitable. You must be incredibly capable or extremely stupid to follow me here. So not for nothing, but like, how are you dealing with the curse without like a face mask or something? Does your armor have a respirator? What the heck's going on there? She squints. Hold on. You're that whelp who had the gall to approach me on the blinding light, aren't you? Thin smile spreads across her lips. Hi. You've had quite the journey, Inquisitor. I almost didn't recognize you. Yeah. Great leaders aren't those who are born into it, but those that rise into their station, so on and so forth. But you must have had help. She ponders a moment. Only Orlaith saw the map that led here. She wouldn't have decided to come on her own, so Basalt must have convinced her. And if he was putting a team together, Caxton Frost would be top of that list. Maybe the Duchess as well. She shakes her head. But it can't just be Basalt leading this. He'd never have joined the Inquisition without persuasion. It can only be Care. Yeah, two versions of her, actually. You don't deny it, she grins. A pack of traitors led by a fledgling Inquisitor have come to nip at my heels. Tell me, just what are you hoping to achieve? What am I hoping to achieve? You've come to put an end to this, Vela. You must stop this madness. Your old friends helped me get here, but I've come to join your cause. All I care about is my freedom. If I had to cut off your head, so be it. Honestly, probably the last one. It sounds so selfish and narcissistic, but it's been the only actual viable driving force for our character this entire time. Our character has no stakes in this, and although we could possibly be persuaded to Vela's cause, why would we as a whole? The world is grimdark. That is something that we have known since we started playing this game. We woke up in a horribly rusted prison cell with a bunch of withered and dried corpses everywhere. Some of those withered and dried corpses were repurposed into drones by the organization that had us imprisoned. This is a grimdark setting where everything's kind of effed up. This is a post-apocalyptic setting. This setting has already faced an apocalypse centuries ago and is still barely scraping by and trying to find its footing afterward. It isn't a good setting. But our character has no reason to trust Vela as a whole in her ideology to fix everything. Even if she was able to fix everything in the image she wants, her image inherently is skewed. Her image inherently is bad. Is it better than the apostatic unions? That's comparing apples to oranges. They both are just a fruit at the end of the day, but that doesn't mean they're the same thing. One's more of a citrus based, one's more of a sweeter kind of thing. I wouldn't consider the apostatic union correct. I just can't consider Vela correct either. I think they both suck. And I feel like I'm just a random individual thrust between these two. Vela is technically a major power. She has been effing around with the apostatic union for a hot minute. And yeah, she's been in the outskirts of where their territory is and kind of just doing run and gun tactics and effing with them here and there and there and here. But she has consistently effed with the apostatic union to the point where she is top of the list of wanted criminals. And the apostatic union, when they have a chance to deal with her, is such a failing freaking government agency that all they're able to send is a small ragtag team. Because the apostatic union has like 5 individuals who probably realize how dangerous she is right now. And the 90 plus other individuals on their council do not consider it so because they didn't read the effing documentation about possibly having more soldiers or anything sent over here to deal with Vela. Because that would take effort. And it's a huge council. And it's buried in paperwork. God, does the apostatic union suck. So now we just have like a freaking group of misfits trying to deal with possibly the biggest threat in the universe since the apocalypse, basically. The world end. And what the heck is my stance in this? My freedom, that is it. I could take the bet that she would be able to make me free if she got this thing going correctly. And everything could change for the better, at least by her views. But let's be honest, her views doesn't mean it's better for everyone. It means it's better for her and the ones she cares about, and how she thinks it should be better. Or I could effing cut her down and have a guarantee of being set free, basically. Were we even guaranteed that if we finished this job, we would be set free? I don't know. But I want to say, if we're able to take her down, we're at least able to possibly evade the Inquisition at that point. At least with our own connections that we've made throughout the entirety of this game thus far. And possibly just with our own capabilities. We are 100% a nobody that should not even be here. We are a lemming tossed into the fire. And weirdly enough, we burned brighter. It is so effing odd. There are probably so many other prisoners that were tossed into this same exact fire that are dead. And we just glowed brighter because of it. She's not going to stop her madness. I know these games usually allow a persuasion check where it's like talking down the big bad villain. And those are a lot of fun in various scenarios, especially like the first Fallout where you can talk down the master, the final boss, by using various forms of logic that you make it realize, oh, I seriously effed up. But usually when you get to this point as a character, the villain is at this point. If logic, empathy, and being able to talk them down was a possibility, they already would have been. You don't get to this completely rewriting the entire world to better fit your image and what you think it should be when a random individual you have no ties to can just walk up, offer you a nice little sit-down chat, and you can completely change your opinion on things. Vela is not going to go down without a fight. At best, after a fight, she might regret a few things. But she's not going down without a fight. At least that's how I'd view most people in this scenario. I may be wrong. I don't consider what she's doing any more madness than anything else because everyone's trying to scrape by in a post-apocalyptic setting. I care about my freedom. All I care about is my effing freedom. That is my driving force throughout the entirety of the game. If I have to cut off your head, so be it. At the first chance you would resort to violence and barbarism, she tuts theatrically. Such self-involved thinking is what's wrong with this world. Yet you don't see that you're self-involved as well? Don't get me wrong. Empathy is what gets humans through the day and it keeps our society strong. You're not being empathetic to anyone else. Why should I offer you the empathy you lack? She gestures at the aberrant being that fills your vision. This extraordinary entity will be our salvation. It will mend our broken world and abolish the evils of humanity. The best way to abolish the evils of humanity is to make them go extinct, Vela. Seriously, you do not want a logic-driven entity doing something like that. That's usually how humanity gets wiped out. All we need to do is awaken it. We are so nearly ready. I mean, did you try singing the good morning song? What is that thing? How is it so powerful? What do you plan to do with it? Waking it up seems like a terrible idea. I mean, honestly, yeah. Honestly. What is that thing? Some would call it a god. But that would be to diminish its power. For the gods are of this world and are bound by its rules. Oh fuck, it's a godhead. This being is of the void, the non-place of pure creation, where time and space act in mysterious ways. We know not whether the Embyrians plucked it whole from that realm, or wove its corporeal flesh from void stuff. Oh, well actually, that may be more of a primordial deity for considering things. In that sense, it would be like, let's use Greek mythology as a figurative example of what the heck I mean. So in Greek mythology, we have the gods as most people know them, the pantheon from Olympus, Zeus, and all that stuff. And then we had the precursors. They were divinities as a whole, and a lot larger and a lot more chaotic. they weren't as civil because they represent a time before humanity as a whole and the world as a whole was civil. Those are the Titans. And then we go a bit beyond that to an earlier time, and we get the world, Gaia. And Gaia birthed a lot of entities as a whole, including monsters as well as the Titans. And that is, in the sense, a cradle for all divinity and all life as we know it. And then we go a bit beyond that, and we get into primordial stuff. We have darkness and night married together and all that. Nyx and Erebus. And then we go a bit beyond that, and we get primordial. We get chaos. One of the original aspects of divinity. Chaos incarnate. And from chaos incarnate, all other things were birthed in a sense. Starting with the divine, and as the divine shaped and formed the world and the universe around them, then the mundane. So arguably, with how she described things, I don't know if I'd consider it a godhead, but it is definitely well beyond, if we consider the gods in universe in Dread Delusion, like Zeus tier. This thing would probably, at the very least, be a Nyx/Erebus tier. It legit sets the rules for everything else. Once more, Nyx being night. No, it is a... Yeah, I think Nyx is night and Erebus is darkness. Them being married means every night is dark. This dude legit sets the rules in which all other things below it work by. That is what we can construe from what she's saying as a whole, if that makes sense. Obviously, this is me relating it to a real world theology to better understand, but this game's world building is set in stone enough that it's not exactly that. That's just a way to kind of better understand what level this thing is. Basically, we've been talking to gods the level of Zeus. And this thing is the equivalent of the, not the grandfather, not the great-grandfather, but the great-great-grandfather with the power of such, at the very least. Okay. Regardless, in the ancient Embyrian dialect, they called it an angel, after the mythical creatures of Middle Age lore. Oh, is it so powerful? Reality is foreign from the semiotics of cipher. It is the language that flows through all things. The truth behind the illusion that dances before our eyes. Honestly, knowing the Embyrians, I'm going to assume a couple text boxes back where she's like, I don't know if they pulled it from the void or if they made its flesh and basically made it. I'm going to assume they made its flesh as a vessel for what the heck they wanted. The devs really liked Morrowind. And this thing is very obviously a Numividium allegory. Reality is foreign from the semiotics of cipher. It is the language that flows through all things. The truth behind the illusion that dances before our eyes. Yeah, I think I said that already. With study, we may learn to alter its flow, its rhythm. We may tweak a word here, adjust a sentence there. And this is the basis of all magic. Yeah, so, I haven't gone into detail about the magic system, but the magic system in universe is basically words of power. And understanding how words are and how they flow is understanding the fabric of reality as a whole in universe. And when you understand the fabric of reality, you can slightly weave the fabric of reality to better fit what you want in the picture of reality you are currently looking at. In that fabric, the thread, everything that's making up all of reality as you know it, if reality in this allegory is a giant tapestry, all the threads are words and sentences of cipher. So learning those words, learning those sentences, learning how they flow is how you change the weave to make a different image on this tapestry, basically as a whole, if that makes sense. We are getting into weird magicy watchky stuff, but this is the kind of stuff I enjoy. Sorry. What we cannot do is alter the language of cipher itself. There are strict rules by which we must adhere, absolute and unbreakable limits upon what is possible. That is once more to go more into detail about this. Let's just consider this from the English language perspective, because obviously this game's currently in English. How you start a sentence is with a capital letter. That is a rule you cannot break. How you end a sentence is with punctuation. That is a rule you cannot break. How words are, just like the word alter is always spelled that way. That is a rule you cannot break. Now let's take that into the next step allegorically, where these sentences and stuff are the fabric of this tapestry. Let's say you want to change things, and you basically want to change something that's only allowed 5 words and 20 characters long, but it needs to be a proper sentence, and it needs to do what you want. So you need to find the right words, the best way for the punctuation, the best way to have the exact sentence structure to get across what you want in 5 words and 20 characters long, and that's it. That is what they are hinting at. That is what they're talking about magic system wise. You cannot break these rules, and some cipher spells need to fit in a certain way just for them to work. So there are a lot of constraints to this word magic system as a whole. As opposed to that, what Vela is possibly introducing, if we're relating it to a real world scenario, is kanji, or something similar from an Asian country like Japan. Kanji being a single character can be an entire word or multiple words. And that completely changes how a magic system like this would work. All the rules, all the checks and balances, everything we know about how magic as a whole and how it's balanced in the universe to keep the world from being collapsed would change because you changed the language. And that's what she's trying to do in a weird way. Does that make sense? Hopefully, possibly. Anyways. But this entity that stands before us, being of the void, it is fundamentally separate from our laws, has the power to change the very essence of reality. And what she means by that, like she said, it's from the void. If everything and everyone as we know it is a part of that tapestry as I just showcased it, and we're just doing our best to alter it while being a part of it, this thing is from the entities who would be making the tapestry and was now pulled into it, if that makes sense. What do you plan to do with it? She grins. I'm going to change everything. The Embyrians built this structure as an incubator for the angel, and had they succeeded in waking it, their tyranny would have enslaved the world for eternity. I mean, yeah. if it was okay with what the heck they wanted it to do. Something I don't think you nor the Embyrians seem to be taking into account is, what makes you think it doesn't have free will? What makes you think it's going to be slaved and chained and collared and be perfectly okay with it, doing exactly as you want? Mentioned multiple times, this isn't a machine built by logic. This is a void entity pulled within the world as a whole. Why do you think it would be happy? And why do you think it would happily do what you want? That is something neither you nor the Embyrians ever asked. Because at the end of the day, you can't even comprehend this thing's logic. What makes you think the Embyrians didn't wake it up, and in fact they failed? What makes you think the world rend wasn't it just screaming at being pulled into the tapestry? And the fact that you never considered such is part of the reason why we need to stop this. You didn't consider the possibilities. We're fortunate that the lesser evil occurred, for in stirring the angel, they caused the world rend and nearly obliterated all of existence. Only nearly. Just a little faux pas. But we have learned from their mistakes. We will use the angel to turn this world into a heaven where every soul is free and equal. I mean, if you wipe out all life, then what the heck you want still gets done. You really need to read up on Jinn and wishes and stuff, girl. You really do. You could spark a second apocalypse and destroy what's left of our world. With the best intentions, you would only make a tyranny of your own design. I think you're right. A just and fair world is worth the risk. Not this high of a risk. You fight in other avenues to make a just and fair world, not this. You are literally playing with the possibility of destroying all life as we know it. Honestly, I'm leaning towards either of these top two. You could spark a second apocalypse and destroy what's left of our world, or with the best intentions, you would only make a tyranny of your own design. Both of these are fitting. Considering what I was just saying, I think I'm going to go with the top option, because she's not considering that as a possibility. She's like, no, I have this perfectly controlled. I know how to handle this way better than the individuals who fully set in motion this entire program. The people who did all the research and everything right obviously didn't know what I know. What I know is always correct, and she's just not considering the possibility of otherwise. So we're going to go with, you could spark a second apocalypse and destroy what's left of our world. Okay. Yeah, let's finish this line of dialogue and we'll call it an episode, because it's been an episode. Over the past few years, I have recruited some of the most accomplished cipher scholars alive. With the correct wording, we will prevent a syntax cascade. Of this, we are almost certain. Vela. You effing idiot. Out of your effing cipher scholars, the Duchess was probably the most accomplished one, and even she admits she is nowhere near as good as the Embyrians. Even she, after centuries of work, is nowhere near as close to how the Embyrian Empire handled their cipher magic. She is amazed by what the heck they have going down here in their most basic forms of infrastructure. Do you honestly think the ragtag group of cipher scholars that you have are better than the entire empire that built this? It's the equivalent of trying to build a frickin' brick house around an atomic bomb and saying, like, we have the best masons in the entire world. We will contain it. How could you be so effing stupid and blinded? Every single cipher scholar that's around you right now working should know they're out of their effing depth, but just can't say a thing because you'd cut them down. And regardless, is the reward not worth the risk? No. You're chancing complete and utter extinction over the possibility of your dream. What's left of this world is barely worth saving. Yet you even admit in that one sentence it is worth saving. But I would elevate us to be something nobler than history has ever known. And you're so fixated on being the one to do so. Your eyes glint as they look into your own. You see, Inquisitor, there's such beauty in us, such majesty, such potential, and you're wasting yours. I've sailed the sky realms and seen such wonders. She waves her hand. Nay, not the void obelisks of Alisfara, or the thousand spires of Bayan University, or the possibility of a love life with care that you tossed away for another job. I've seen the nuns of the vagrant hospice tending to their enemies. Yeah, that's what a doctor is supposed to do. I've seen a man give his life to the blood barons of Terran so that a stranger may live. Yeah, that's what human empathy is. Besides, I have seen a child recently orphaned, her face speckled with blood, offer me the last of her bread. Human empathy. It's what we do to survive. It's what brings us together, and it's what makes our frickin' societies great. And you were looking upon that and seeing it as a reason to destroy all society as we know it possibly for a frickin' dream to chase the fact that your sister was killed. You are looking at the most basic aspect of humanity, the thing that truly makes us human, and using it as a reason to possibly destroy all of humanity to further your own agenda. She steps closer. But wherever my sails have taken me, I've seen the hopes and dreams of the common folk crushed by oppressors, by the Union, Wiccan or otherwise. Everywhere I go, the poor writhe in the mud so that the rich may sleep in silk. Then bite. What makes your oppression different? What makes you righter than others? If you see something wrong, you had the frickin' army to deal with it. Once I thought my sword could right the wrongs of the world, that morals and ethics could guide my blade. But I've seen too many skyships burn, and too often breathe the stench of human flesh to believe that still. Yeah, war does that. You know what you effing had, Vela? You had a plot of land. You had a fortress. You could have easily won over the connecting islands. You could have made your utopia. You could have made your kingdom. You could have made a place safe for the downtrodden. But even though you're constantly saying you're tired of war, and you're so freaking tired of everything going wrong, of everyone dying everywhere you look, you fixate on the possibility of wiping out anything and everything just for the less than a percentage chance of it going better. You could have made what the heck you wanted. You just wanted instant gratification as opposed to building it. In truth, I had lost hope, till I had visions of an angel. With the Onric interface on an Embyrian map, I realized then what could be achieved. Wait, you had visions? Wait, this thing freaking psychically contacted her? Oh, that's not good. Oh, that's not good. That's really not good. Oh, the thing's not fully asleep. Oh, that's not good. That's not good. That's really not good. Oh gosh, that's horrifying. It's definitely been an episode. I'll talk to you guys in another episode where Vela may actually low-key be under the entice spell. And this thing arguably could do that. Why wouldn't it be able to? As it's been showcased multiple times and talked about, it doesn't follow the rules of how magic works. So why wouldn't it be able to use the entice spell on the first human that has a possibility of helping it reach a grander form, when that person looks at something directly tied to where it is? After all, as you know, magicy wagicy stuff, there is ways to possibly summon grander beings. That's why names have power. When you say a name, in a lot of cultures, in a lot of magic systems based around words and such, you are invoking the entity in which you said the name. She looked at a map where this thing was sleeping in and possibly evoked it in a weird magicy wagicy sense. Oh, effing Christ. Vela may be charmed. She may be enticed this entire time. Oh, effing Christ. That puts everything on its head. Okay, I'll talk to you guys later in another episode of Dread Delusion. We will continue this cutscene from this point. But until then, it's been fun. I'm enjoying it. I always am. And I'll talk to you guys later. Ciao.